Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Kathy J Show. Did you miss me? I missed you. I'm Kathy J. Thank you for joining us today. You know what? It's a fun half hour, and I'm just glad that you take the time out of your day to spend it with us. Remember, you can always go to kathyjshow.com to find any of the shows you missed or just any behind the scenes photos. A lot of our Halloween photos are up there. So thank you guys for supporting us and going there throughout the day. All right, so today I want to talk to you about limited beliefs, okay? When we're young, when you're little, like, it's all about encouragement. You can do that. You can walk. You can crawl. Get up. You can go to bed tonight without your diapers. Like, every single stage is something that we get rewarded and encouraged through. But then all of a sudden, something happens, right? Like, it's shocking when you look back as an adult to know how many limited beliefs were passed on from generation to generation in your own family. And if you don't know what I'm saying, think of it this way, okay? So I once heard this, Joel Osteen. When I'm looking for inspiration, I'll listen to anything. And I was clicking around on channels and I came across Joel Osteen, the pastor. He said it perfect, okay? He said it's kind of like this. One of his friends loved the way his wife cooked pork chops, right? And so he was like, but she always cut the ends off the pork chops. And he was like, why do you cut the ends off, babe? I love your pork chops, but why do you cut the ends off? And she was like, well, I don't know. That's the recipe my mom gave me. And then she called her mom and she was like, Mom, why do we cut the pork chops, the ends off when we cook the pork chops in your recipe? And she was like, well, I don't know. That's the way Grandma always did it. So then the granddaughter called her grandma and said, Grandma, why do you cut the ends of the pork chops off? And the grandma said, oh, well, that's easy. It's because I only had a 10-inch frying pan. How many of us are going through life with a 10-inch frying pan, everybody? It is so true when you think about it. Our limits are endless, but for some reason, we were programmed at some point to use a 10-inch frying pan. How many of you right now do things a certain way? Maybe you drive the longer way home, or you don't take the shortcuts on your phone or your computer. Why? Because you're comfortable doing it the way you learned it. Even though it's not the efficient way, the way that you know you can get to a goal, you still get comfortable and do it the old way. Why? Why did someone tell you you couldn't break an addiction? Why did somebody tell you you couldn't lose weight? Hey, you can't get a TV show. You're not famous. You can't have that kind of job or be a manager. Who told you that? Why is it in your head? Here's the worst part. Maybe that person was you. Did you tell yourself you couldn't do it? I tell myself I can't do things all night. Told myself last night I couldn't do something. It was a really long driveway. I didn't want to go with the kids up to get the candy. But you know what? What is stunting your growth? This is what today's show is about, everybody. And is it time for you to make a choice? Maybe it's time for you to start seeing yourself in a whole new way. You know what? It's working for me, everybody. You got to make that move. And today we have a coaching expert that's here that's going to just guide us right through breaking through limited beliefs and seeing who we really can be and getting to that person. Don't move, everybody, okay? Because for the next half hour, we're going to get into it. So we're going to teach you how to make the move, but don't move right now for the next half hour. We'll be right back. Ramos Law is an official partner of the Kathy J Show. He's a medical doctor and a lawyer. Ramos Law, what makes us different makes us better. Welcome back to the Kathy J Show, everybody. So today we're talking about something that most of us have experienced in different ways, limiting beliefs. Rebeccah Silence is a certified emotional life coach joining us today. Thank you so much, Rebeccah.
Kathy, and everyone, I'm so honored to be here.
I'm really honored to have you. Okay, so everybody, to start out with, first off, we have to shout out your family, everybody. So Rebeccah, tell everybody about your family.
I've got an amazing husband, 2 gorgeous daughters, and this is my life purpose. This family is a dream come true, and I'm so proud of all of them.
Well, yes, I know. I love that. And the reason why we're showing her family, everybody, is because I really want you to get to know Rebeccah, because she has lived what we are discussing today, limited beliefs. So you've been a therapist, you've coached people on how to get through the emotion of what guides them. Let's get into the beliefs and thoughts.
Yeah.
Limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts are two totally different things. Why? What's a belief and what's a thought?
So the reason this is important, Kathy, is because really the only thing that can hurt us is our belief system.
Yes, right.
Right? It's if you don't believe it, I can tell you, you're pink with purple stripes.
Right.
And if you don't believe it, who cares? I'm not pink with purple stripes.
Exactly.
But the second we believe a thought,
Yeah.
now we can suffer. A thought is just a thought. That's it. A belief is a commitment.
Yes, right. Well, then why do we commit to the wrong beliefs? Why do we commit to
Yeah.
something that we know is negative or bad for us? Why do we do that?
Well, and I like to say there is no good or bad or right or wrong.
Okay.
There's what works and there's what doesn't.
Okay.
So why do we believe beliefs that aren't actually working for the life we want? It's because we don't have any evidence to support that there's anything else.
Okay.
We have to create the evidence,
You're
and we
right.
don't know how to do that, and we get afraid to do that. And I think often people are just stuck in doubt because we know where the self-inflicted glass ceiling lies, and we don't know there's anything beyond it.
Yes, right. You're right. And I'm so glad you said glass ceiling, because I think, especially as a woman, I feel like I was made to feel the glass ceiling my whole career. Like, you are here, you won't make what the guys make, you're going to be, like, you're that girl over here in
Yeah.
the box, you're not really the opinion, but I had to fight to be the person that gave an opinion. I had to, so it's like, but I knew something in me knew that wasn't right. Is that what you guide people with, like to just go with that intuition that they're feeling? How do we
Yeah.
guide ourselves when we don't know what to believe?
Well, and I think about it like this, Kathy. I think it's a skill to become the source of your own encouragement and your own validation, because otherwise we're listening to everyone outside of us, and they must know, they must be right.
Right, but they don't know anything. They're not living your life.
They know what's right for them.
Right.
They don't know what's right for you. And so what I really teach is how to connect to that internal guidance system and follow it. And for me, learning how to do that saved my life.
Yes, so this is really, it's cool. I hate to say the word cool, but this is an amazing thing that happened to Rebeccah, everybody. So her limiting beliefs come with cancer. Okay, so you were raised, you were raised by a bunch of women, and you were raised to be a mom, right?
I was raised to, love family, which I do.
Yes.
And, it's interesting because I always knew that the women that I love so much, that I learned from and grew up, they weren't as happy as I decided as a little girl that they could be or should be.
Yes.
And, I really wanted to have a life that I was proud of. I wanted to feel in love with my life. I want that for all women. I want that for all people. And it wasn't until a cancer diagnosis that the rubber really started to meet the road for me. Like, I got it, but I didn't get it, how important it is to commit to the life that works for you and is right for you until I had to lead what was going to help me survive and essentially beat cancer.
She was pregnant, 6 months pregnant.
Yeah.
When you were diagnosed with a stage melanoma?
Well, they didn't know the stage yet.
Okay.
They knew I had malignant melanoma.
Okay.
But they couldn't stage me until the baby was born.
Okay,
So I
you
had
delivered early.
Yep.
And then they get in there and realize it's gone into your lymph nodes, and they give you, what was your prognosis of life?
It was very small, like 5 to 10%. It was a very aggressive melanoma.
And you gave birth, so you can't be around your new baby because you're
I
going
could
through
be around
chemo,
her, but I
right?
had so many surgeries that I couldn't breastfeed her. I couldn't hold her. The melanoma was in my left arm, and I had so many surgeries and nerve damage that I couldn't even use this arm. So my family would have to bring the baby in proper on a pillow in front of me so that I could quasi hold her.
And part of your body was also paralyzed, right? From something that happened.
So I ended up with 12 surgeries that year, the first year of her life, and the chemo that I was on, the nerves in my right leg began to die, and I had what's called drop foot. So I was dragging my foot around and I couldn't walk on it. And what's so interesting about this is the doctors were basically telling me, nerve damage can't heal.
I was just telling you, you're not facing parents or somebody that just saying you can't achieve this. You're facing doctors saying you're never going to walk again.
Right.
Like, they're putting their limited beliefs on you. This is what's happening to your body. You're shutting down.
Right?
Yes, that's what they go with. This is a science
all they have.
of of what's going on with your body.
Right. And in our families, it's all statistics based too.
Yes,
like
right.
in this family system, statistically, this is the possibility.
Yes, okay.
Right? And then there is life beyond the possibility that we know or we've seen. And it does, at least for me, get really confronting to be seeing possibility that no one else seems to see.
Yes.
But that's the beginning for everyone, for you to know that if you can see it, it sounds cliche, but it's so true. You have everything you need to create the possibility you can see, even if you have no idea how to do it. You have that capacity.
Right.
And so for me, I would thank the doctors for their input.
Right.
And then I just
yes.
was like, yeah, I don't know.
That's not going to be me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I basically decided to have a belief that I was going to live, even if it made no sense, even if there was no evidence. When they were saying, it's time to prepare your will.
Then you're like, thank you that I'm living.
I'm going to prepare my will, but I'm still going to prepare to still be alive post-cancer. And then I did end up making a very hard decision to quit chemotherapy. My internal guidance system guided me in that direction, and I had a coach that was very supportive in coaching me into the possibility that seemed and felt right for me. And I'm not saying anyone else should quit chemo, but for me, it was causing such severe reactions in my body that I knew I needed to quit the chemo or I would be dead. And so I quit the chemo, and I can hike a mountain. I ride a Peloton every day. I sure do. I can use my legs, and I'm well.
That's awesome. Yay! High five!
Yeah.
High five!
Yeah.
And you're here for your family.
Yeah.
But it was because you didn't allow yourself to be limited.
Right. I like to catch thoughts like a fly ball, take a look, and then decide, what do I want to believe? And I think the prerequisite to paying attention to our beliefs is to know intentionally, where do you want your life to go next?
Yeah.
If you don't have an intention, I had my older daughter,
Wait, we're going to stop there. Because, before we get into your older daughter, we have to take a break, everybody. But when we come back, we're going to get into more about overcoming limiting beliefs and what your daughter did. We'll be right back, everybody. Kathy J. Oakwood Homes is an official partner of the Kathy J Show. Oakwood Homes, building happiness. Welcome back to the Kathy J Show. Before the break, life coach Rebeccah Silence was telling us something that you're about. What she was telling us about overcoming cancer, and then something that your older daughter had said that you recognized was also a limited belief.
Well, what it did was launch me to lead through my limiting beliefs. So what she said was, great, you have cancer and you're gonna die. Oh, yeah. And I had been a single mom for a long time with her. And, I think what's so important when we have our brains go into fear is that we remember what we're up to. What do we want? Where's our life going? And we get intentional. That is the number one thing I see people not doing when I'm working with them in my coaching practice. They're not intentional about what they want or where they want their lives to go. So cancer was a very clear, I want to live. I want to be healthy. Right. I want my family to have me, and I want to be with them every step of the way. So the one thing you can do for everybody watching is get intentional. And how do you do that? It can be simple. It doesn't have to be too wild or crazy, but just know what you want next.
Yeah.
Maybe it is to have more fun. Maybe it's to get your body moving. Maybe it's to reconnect to your spouse or to a family member or to a child. But what's one thing you want? For me, my oldest gave me this gift of knowing, okay, the only thing that matters right now is that I'm gonna live like I'm gonna live. That was an intention.
Yes.
So from there, with every thought, I could catch it like a fly ball, like we talked about earlier, and decide, do I want to believe into this thought and commit to this thought and have it run my life, or is it useless?
No, you're so right, but why do we catch the useless ones? Why are we attracted to the ones that are the negative, that are the fear?
Because that is what we believe to be true or what we're afraid to be true.
Right.
And, it's not useless in the moment, Kathy.
Yeah.
It's so important to have perspective like, oh, this is here to either help me see how far I've come or how far I have to go.
Gotcha.
So it's all useful, but then when we know what we want, when we have that intention, we can decide, is this thought supportive of the possibility I'm trying to create or not?
Right.
And then we can let it go. I think people think it has to take so much time.
Yes, you do.
It's 2 seconds. Is this useful or not based on where my life is headed?
And move it out of the way, because then you have goals, you know where you're going. You also said that our brains can't function fear and positivity at the same time.
Possibility. Yeah. So I am trained through a school called Legacy Training International as an integrative holistic coach. And in Legacy Training, what we teach is your brain can't be in fear and possibility at the same time. So you're either sourcing like gas in the tank from fear, and that is what we know, it is what we learn, it is what we see, and it becomes normal to us. And often, this is what I think is so cool about this segment. We don't even know we're in fear.
Right.
We don't even know a belief is limiting.
Exactly.
Right? It's just, well, this is how it is, right? But the second you hear yourself saying, this is how it is, right? Automatically that's fear. Fear doesn't have to look like you're shaking in your boots.
No, it doesn't.
It's just anything that keeps you stuck.
Exactly. Anything that downs you, anything that keeps you in your house, keeps you from getting that other job, keeps
or
you
going
from
for whatever your next thing is.
Whatever your next thing is. What is your best advice for someone to get centered with what they truly want? Like break through a limited belief and get to what I really want.
Yeah. So the coaching I always have is you already know. And if you know what you don't want, you absolutely know what you do want.
Yes.
It's just you're likely, if you feel confused, you're just not right now trusting that if you declare it, you can have it. We self-protect.
Yes, we do.
Right? So
and we
you
have
already
family
know.
that self-protects us.
Right.
You'll never do that. You know,
Right.
like don't go try to do that. You don't want to go in debt trying to be a doctor.
Right.
You could, go work with your dad at the plant.
Right.
Like parents will limit it because
Right.
they don't want to see the kid fail.
Right. Well, and we all suffer from this good enough is good enough syndrome.
Yes.
And good enough isn't good enough. And your life, my life very literally depended on me breaking through limiting beliefs, but your life depends on it too. Because the life you want, the life that's fulfilled and free and fantastic, depends on you committing to breaking through the life you've known to have the life you don't know you can have.
Right.
But if you can see it for yourself, you can create it, and you do know what you want. That's my ultimate coaching.
Yeah.
You do know, you do know, you do know.
Whether it's I do know I don't want to be with this person, or I do know I want this kind of different job, or I do know that I someday want to have children or not have children. I mean, you
Right.
feel that, and do you just relax and try to, like, what do I need to silence everyone? Like go into a room? Like, what do you advise people right now watching?
Well,
How
I
do they
really
find
do
that
believe,
voice?
ironically, with my last name being Silence,
I know,
really
it is
do
funny.
believe that silence is the first step to healing. And I think, start with what you know you don't want, but make it simple. It's not easy, but connecting to yourself and finding that voice in you that knows the next right thing for you, that's your only job.
That is exactly right. We put too much pressure on ourselves. What are they doing? What are they doing? And I was doing that to myself. And the more I said, Kathy, these are your gifts. Stay in your lane. You're not this talent. You're not this kind of talent. You are this kind of talent. And I just kept reinforcing, I just kept reinforcing that I knew I could do it.
Right.
That I took out everybody's, voices in my head saying, you can't have a show, you can't be on your own. Like, I took it all out and said, no, something in me is saying I can do this.
Right.
And I just kept, and so it was nonstop. Like, I changed the verbiage. But it was years.
Absolutely.
It doesn't change overnight.
It doesn't, but what you're talking about, let's just break down being versus doing.
Yes.
So we've talked about thoughts and beliefs.
Yes.
It isn't about doing more. It's about you deciding, I'm going to be the person it takes.
Yeah.
As long as it takes. And then that dream can become a reality. It's not about doing more or putting more pressure on yourself. It's about being the person that just decides. It really is as simple as a decision that you will know what you want eventually. Even if you say, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I want. Well, then be the person that will know what you want. And then you will.
And then you'll know what you want.
It'll come.
That's awesome. And so that's all you coach people. You just tell them whether it's whatever it is.
I want to know the possibility they want for themselves. And if they're struggling with that, we absolutely, in record time, get to the root of what it is. What do you want? And then we get to the root of what's in the way.
When someone is around you and you keep hearing the negativity, you're doing your work, you're focused on what you want, a loved one is around you saying you can't do it, what do you do to tune them out?
Yeah, so I have basically developed 5 steps to emotional healing after the cancer journey. And the second step is wellness. The first one is courage. So having the courage to know, you're it. You're the leader of your life. But
Hold
then,
that. We'll come back with the other steps as soon as we come back. We'll be right back, everybody. Her website, everybody, RebeccahSilence.com. I'm silencing you just for a moment, Rebecca.
Do it.
Rebecca also has these awesome women's retreats that she's got planned. She also has a podcast called Tougher Together. Rebecca's doing it, everybody. She made her own breakthrough. She's helping us. So you can listen to it anywhere podcasts are streamed. Tougher Together. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Kathy J. The Colorado Lottery is an official partner of the Kathy J Show. Colorado Lottery, play on. Welcome back to the Kathy J Show. I've learned a lot this half hour, everybody, and I hope you have as well. Remember, you can catch anything at kathyjshow.com. Rebecca, you had the 5 steps that you use in coaching. Okay, go for it.
So these are the steps that regardless of what other people are thinking and saying and doing, you can start to see them like the Charlie Brown teacher and tune them out. So step 1 is courage. Step 2 is wellness. We got to set our lives up to support our wellness so that step 3, we can stay inspired. But inspiration is about connecting to the highest version of you. Regardless of results. We want to be our best once the results are what we want. Faith is the 4th step, and faith is about knowing no matter what, life can get better. And then finally, 5 is we all have the ability to step into our power.
We all have power, everybody. Thank you, Rebeccah Silence. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone.